Howdy heckin' hello, H2Os, Roller Bros, and Vibe Checkers alike. I'm your guide, Q. Welcome back to r/AmITheAntagonist. I hope you guys are all doing super well out there. Haven't visited this subreddit in a while, but we've got some spicy stories to look into, so feel free to give your opinions, and I'll be sure to give mine. Let's get into it. Am I the antagonist for having my 9-year-old nephew arrested for stealing my wallet? My sister has a 9-year-old son who I will call Jay. He has a terrible attitude, and my sister has a very bad habit of dropping Jay off at my doorstep for me to babysit him without any notice whatsoever. She did this again this weekend, probably because she was going out with her friends. I heard the doorbell ring, and by the time I got to the door, Jay was standing there and my sister drove away. So I let him in. After a while, I noticed that the wallet that was sitting on the bedside table was missing. I asked Jay if he knew where it went, to which he smugly replied, "You can't prove that I stole the wallet," which means he obviously stole it. I told him that he needs to hand it over immediately, and he continued to be smug about it. So I called my sister and told her to come pick him up. She refused and said that I needed to deal with him myself. I have many prior incidents with Jay, so this was my last straw. I told him that if he doesn't hand it over, I will call the police. He thought I was kidding, so I just went ahead and called them. He apparently still believed that I was kidding even after I called them, because he only started freaking out when the cops pulled into the driveway. At this point, Jay was sobbing uncontrollably. He handed over my wallet and started begging me for forgiveness. I told him that he'll have to wait for the cops to come in. When the cops came in, I explained the situation to them. I told them that he stole my wallet, which I got back, and that his mom needs to come pick him up and that she refuses to do so. I asked them to take Jay until his mom comes, so they handcuffed him, put him in the backseat of the cop car, and called my sister to come pick him up. They were very gentle with him and he was not hurt. About 20 minutes later, my sister showed up. She started crying and screaming at me and was acting so erratically that the cops had to tell her to behave herself and threatened to arrest her. Eventually, my sister took Jay and drove home. She cried to all of our family members about it, and I've been receiving many angry messages from them. I have gone no contact with my sister, and thankfully I don't think she'll be dropping Jay off at my house any longer. I feel that I was justified because I never agreed to babysit Jay, my sister refused to pick him up, and there was nothing I could do apart from putting my hands on him and digging through his pockets, which I won't do. Alright, so let me know what you guys think in the poll. It's gonna pop up in the top right corner of your screen and in the comments, but this is just insane to me, because one, I do think that the OP in this situation could have dealt with it a lot better. I understand that they're not a parent, and so it's not really their responsibility to be good at this stuff, but I feel like they might have been able to deal with this child without calling the police on the child. Like you say, you can't put your hands on the kid and grab the wallet out of there, but I'm sure there's some other way that you could have coerced this kid into emptying his pockets with, I don't know, some sort of threat, like not some evil threat, but you know, something that's gonna make a kid do something, I don't know. And also when the cops came, they put cuffs on the kid and put him in the back of the squad car. I can understand putting the kid in the back of the squad car, but like, was the kid being violent? Did he really need cuffs on him as a 9-year-old? Like, is he really a danger to any of these officers? But at the end of the day, in my opinion, the mother of this child is the one that should really be being dealt with. She dropped off a kid without announcing whatsoever. She just left him in front of even your sister or your brother's house, whatever sibling it was, just without anybody acquiring the kid to make sure that he's safe. That's pretty insane. And yeah, I just think that person's a terrible mother. CPS probably should have been called, or whatever, Child Protective Services. Whatever's going on in this section of the country or world. Damn. I'm gonna give this one an everyone sucks here, like slightly, because I feel like the original poster could have dealt with the situation better, but I also have deep pity for them for even having to be in this situation in the first place. Am I the antagonist for rejecting a disabled girl's prom asking? This does not sound like a fun situation. Alright, so today was quite traumatic for me. I'm a high school senior, 18 male, and promposal season is currently in full swing. I was in my AP Chem class when suddenly an entourage of people entered my classroom with a disabled girl. She has cerebral palsy that I know. I first saw the posters and the bouquet of flowers she was holding and thought, "Aw, that's sweet of her." Then they revealed the posters and I read my name and was completely taken aback. I literally almost had an anxiety attack. I didn't know what to say at all, and the entire class was cheering and people even started filming. I was straight up frozen for a minute and I could feel myself burning up with embarrassment. Of course, I wanted to say no, but since it was so public and everyone was waiting for me to say yes, I did and hugged her. Everyone clapped, including the teacher, and I was mortified. One of my buddies asked me if I was okay afterwards, since apparently I looked like I was going to burst into tears, and I told him I literally did not expect that at all and didn't want to say yes. He suggested that I go find her after school or something and explain that to her, and I agreed. Now, this girl is really nice. We had a class together last year and sat next to each other for a majority of it and talked quite a lot. I would say we were definitely friends then, but we haven't spoken more than 2 times this school year, so we've definitely drifted apart. That's why I was completely shocked when she sprung the prom asking on me. Usually people have their friends make sure that the other person is at least aware before doing the asking to prevent situations like this. I was contemplating if I should just bite the bullet and go with her, but I decided that I couldn't because it's my senior year prom and I was already starting to plan my asking. There's this girl that I've liked for a couple months now, and I recently heard from my friends that she likes me back, so I was gonna ask her. So I ended up going to the special ed classroom after school where I found her and asked if I could speak to her outside. This doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This doesn't make any sense to me because cerebral palsy in general, and I just have a very general, surface level knowledge, does not affect your learning abilities for the most part. So, special ed classroom doesn't really make sense to me, but let me know if I'm incorrect in the comments. I told her everything and how I really, really appreciated the gesture, but I was already planning on asking my crush to prom, and she was crushed. She started crying really, really loudly and asked me why I couldn't have just said no, and I said that I didn't want to embarrass the 2 of us in front of all those people. At this point, one of her aides came out to check on us since she could hear the crying, and the girl told her aide what happened, and she straight up glared at me and said, "That's not okay." Okay, so I just want to clarify real quick, I did look it up, and I guess in some cases, cerebral palsy can affect cognitive functioning to some level, so it's an inconsistent thing. So sometimes it will, sometimes it won't, and it's varying levels as to which. So she totally could have been in a special ed classroom. I apologize to myself for interrupting myself in the past. But moving forward, stupid frickin' aide saying that's not okay. It is okay, because let's just separate the cerebral palsy out of here. Let's just throw that to the side because it's really irrelevant. It is the fault of this girl and everyone she's friends with, everybody that planned this with her, that they proposed to this guy in this super elaborate big deal way when it wasn't a confirmed thing that he was going to say yes. I feel like, in my opinion, the only time that a big to-do should be done for a prom proposal, if you're going to do one, is when you're already dating someone or you can already confirm that they like you or they will say yes. Anything else is setting yourself up for the potential disappointment of them saying, no, that's what happened here, this person's not in the wrong. And I'm not necessarily saying that the girl is in the wrong either, because we all know that sometimes, you'll have an idea or your friend will have an idea and everybody will just kind of get together and gas each other up and make the decision to do it, and now you know that promposal is probably on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram, and everybody saw the promposal go so well, who knows, even maybe it went viral a little bit and a bunch of people saw it and were really into it, and now it's not actually happening, and so that's just a reminder of the disappointment that's going on. So I do feel bad for everybody in this situation. It's an unfortunate thing, for sure. Okay, so this one's kind of like a far-fetched Am I the Antagonist with the mother-in-law. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what's going on here. Am I the antagonist for hitting my mother-in-law where it hurts? No actual physical hitting happened here, disappointingly. I already know the answer to this. I just want everyone to tell me what a bitch I've been. My daughter was born 3 years ago. After 36 hours in labor, I had a C-section. After I had trouble breastfeeding, my milk never came in properly, and after 2 months of pumping and supplements and praying and crying, we gave up and switched to formula completely. I had my son 3 months ago via C-section. I tried breastfeeding, but again, it didn't work. I gave up quicker this time, and we are using formula. My mother-in-law has spent the last 3 years crowing about my failures as a mother. All of her children were born naturally. She had no trouble breastfeeding. C-sections are for quitters. Her body was just made to be a mother, but don't worry, dear, I'm sure you're good at other things, blah blah blah. It's ramped up with the new baby. Every time I see her, which has been a lot, just little passive-aggressive digs at me. My husband has asked her to stop, my father-in-law told her to stop, but she just plays dumb. For 3 years I kept quiet to her face, but she made me cry more than once in private. There was a little while, about 2 weeks postpartum, where I went to a seriously dark place and questioned whether she was right, whether I shouldn't have become a mother, and whether they were better off without me. I'm feeling better now, and those feelings aren't her fault, but she sure didn't help. Important info. My husband has 2 brothers, his mom had a late-term miscarriage of her only daughter, and she always wanted a girl. Anyway, this past weekend they were over for dinner and my husband was feeding the baby. She starts in loudly about how she never needed bottles because she made so much milk, and how she gets she was just such a natural mother, and how it seems just so wrong to give baby formula. And she was just such a perfect mother, practically a fertility goddess, and I was such a failure. I'm sleep deprived and hormonal, and I've put up with this for years, and I just snapped. I said, at least all my babies are alive. As soon as it came out of my mouth, I wish I could just stuff it back in. She got real quiet and they left pretty quickly without really saying anything. I firmly believe that I'm the antagonist, but my husband thinks she deserved it after all the pain she intentionally caused me. So tell me, am I the antagonist or what? Okay, so here's the deal here. The reason that I said far-fetched at the beginning is because, like, I know that mother-in-laws, father-in-laws can be terrible. People can be awful in general, but, like, sometimes it just seems kind of hard to believe that people would be this grating over and over again over time about such a sensitive thing. But I mean, like, if stuff like this is real, I genuinely believe there should be some sort of, like, no rules cage fight between this woman and her mother-in-law, so this woman can just beat the crap out of her in some sort of, like, sanctioned way to just be like, come on, just stop doing this is uncool and nobody accepts it. So yeah, obviously I do not think that this woman is in the wrong. You know, it's like, at least all my babies are alive. Yeah, is it a crappy thing to say? Sure, but it's like, after years and years, it's not really that shocking to me whatsoever that you would have some sort of outburst like that. So I feel your pain, I feel your awkwardness if you have to see this mother-in-law again, which you most likely will have to. So yeah, just a crappy situation all over. If you're interested in situations where somebody might be very wrong and getting kind of mad at those people, a few days ago I put out a video looking at this WikiHow article where it was instructing people on how to cheat on their partners without getting caught. It was very spicy. I'll put a link to that in the description in the comments down below. If you'd like to support the channel, you can hit that join button down below the screen and, you know, get some cool perks while also helping out a little bit, making these videos possible and things. I'd like to thank, why am I doing this voice? I don't know why I just switch into a different voice at the end of videos. Jared D, I'd like to thank you, Regrettable Stitches, Allison B, For Jared, Connor G, Cryptid Fennec, Kaya Bay, Tasha K, and Catco, as well as everyone else you see on your screen. Thank you guys so much for the support, and thank everybody else for the sweet support of just, you know, watching the videos, leaving a comment, being nice to people down in the comments, not being a butthole and stuff. And yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well, skating on to the best of your abilities, drinking a sufficient amount of water. Yeah, have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Peace out, Cub Scout.